solution for the solution for kicks. Yeah, you know about the name change and everything. And it's working. It's working. First off, shout out to the subscribers. Got a few more subscribers since an event. And with Instagram, which is the same name as this channel, the solution for kicks. That's with an exclamation mark and a Z. So make sure you follow my Instagram channel. Right now, there are a lot of old school retro kicks, except for Jordans. I haven't made too much Jordans on my Air Force Ones yet. I'm getting there, people. I have a lot of shoes. I'm not halfway. And you'll like it. Comment, you know, it's stuff people haven't seen before. got a nice little collection here. Okay, really diverse collection, not just Jordans and Yeezys and the typical hyped up shoe. I tend to avoid those. But today's video is about to cop or not to cop. That is the question. As a sneakerhead, a shoe collector, anybody that collects anything, you have a passion for what you're doing and you're faced with this dilemma. Am I just getting this because it's there? And I don't want to have the guilt, the self-inflicted guilt that if I don't get that particular item, in this case a shoe, I'm going to miss out. And I've done this several times. I've passed on the shoe. Then later on, I'm like, I should have got those. Just happened to me. Was looking at a fellow ShoeTuber's page and he did a really good video on the shoe. And it's my favorite shoe of all time, the Air Force One, the 4th of July one. And I was kicking myself. I said, those will be there. Those will be around. Come to find out, limited run, quick strike for some areas, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the shoe is no longer available unless they just go on clearance because they had too many of them. People are feeling in certain areas. So you're faced with that. And there's a couple of factors in it. One is financial reasons. Depending on where you are with your money, you may say, you know something, I simply can't afford to buy that shoe right now. That's okay. That's normal person's issues right there. There's no diss. And you know, when you see the comments, you know, broke dudes are complaining and stuff like that. No, this person's being responsible. They're looking at where they are currently and saying, it's a shoe. I don't need that right now. And they didn't have to share that with you. It's okay. There's other things more important, like a light bill, you know, a phone bill. Come on now, stop it. But if you're doing that, you're young, and we know you're young. It's not even your money most of the time. And the other issue is, you just simply are okay because you have so many of a similar shoe, so you pass on it. And the third one is just being, you're copying for the sake of copying because the shoe came out and you want to have the ability to talk about the shoe to say, hey, I got it as well. So here's my issue. About a month ago, I went on this binge. It was crazy. And I said, you really need to look at your collection, the solution. You're selling off shoes, but you're also replacing them at kind of a stagnant rate. So there's really no ebb and flow anymore. Conversely to April and early May, where I was selling. Whereas in late May, in June, and early July, I was copping. I was also receiving shoes as gifts. So let's get into it with my example shoe. Early this month, this is the shoe in question right here. This is the wing, okay? And the Jordan 12 wing, as I look at it, the 12s period is not one of my favorite silhouettes. And you know, one of the most iconic Jordan releases were involved in as part of the 12, the Flu Games, okay? The Flu Games, one of the most iconic Jordan sneakers ever. And they released these, I want to say, early this year or late last year. And I was like, oh, those are pretty cool. I got to see them in the store, and I think it was retail was $170. I said, for a low top shoe, nah, but I like them because they had incorporated this little panel in here, and they made it a different color. So this is Zoom Orange. I'm from Baltimore, and this is why this shoe actually spoke to me. I am a devout Orioles fan, and had this been another colorway, I would have passed on these. And I know they had the Wolf Gray or Cool Gray version, which a lot of people were going after. They had these Zoom Oranges. I just didn't get them back then. I was like, 170? Nah, not gonna do that. Well, these were at the San Marcos outlet for $119, if I'm not mistaken. And it was 30% off the store plus my 10%, which kind of compelled me to buy these. I felt like that's a great deal. You're passing up on a cool sneaker. Is one of your favorite color combinations, black and orange. You're from Baltimore, the Baltimore Orioles. You're repping. You have stuff that match this. Get that sneaker the solution. Get it. Don't pass up on it. So I bought it. It is now almost an entire month. I've slipped my foot into this shoe twice. Once in the store and once in the house. I have not purchased this shoe. This shoe, actually, you saw me do a video where I went up to San Marcos to exchange some shoes for another shoe. Ooh, the box is falling. And I took these with me as bait, just in case I found something I like, because I haven't fully committed to this shoe. And if you know anything about the Nike outlet, you can return the shoe at almost any time as long as you haven't worn it and you have the receipt. And within 3 days, they credit it back to your account if you charge it or use debit or whatever. Or they give you cash if you pay cash. That's the new thing about the Nike store. So if you ever have a money issue, your shoes essentially become your collateral, all right? Once you keep the receipt and you have not worn the shoes. And that's the great thing about having an immense collection, which leads you to the dilemma. You may not get around to wearing the shoe. You just wanted the shoe for the sake of having the shoe. And that's my problem. I wanted the shoe for the sake of having the shoe. I said, that's a sale, that's a deal, get them. It doesn't matter, you have them. And I bought 3 shoes that day, well, within that time period. Because I believe I was headed up to Dallas. I bought the 10s, the 31s that I took back, and these. The 31s obviously didn't make it, I mentioned those a few times. Out of the favorite 3 that I purchased, it was the 10s. The NYC 10s. I love them. Those things are like super, super comfortable. A lot of people call them the poor man's OVOs. I don't care about a Drake collaboration. That's what the hypebeast stuff is, the owl and all that junk. I like the fact that it had the gold flakes on it. The 3M is, y'all know how I feel about 3M. If you look at my Instagram page, I mention 3M on sneakers a lot. I go for sneakers with 3M on. I love that. It looks good when you take a picture and the flash hit it, like you're glowing. Dragon type thing, Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that old school movie back in the 80s. Anyway, I had these shoes in the trunk. I went inside, looked around, didn't see anything, but I took back 2 other pair of shoes I wasn't wearing. And I've come to that part where I'm able to buy a lot of shoes. And now, I'm like, I have enough. Just get what you really, really want. And that's what it really should come down to. Get the shoe you really, really want. Don't be caught in the marketing trap and employ of, boom, Nike Plus, there's a new shoe releasing, or there's a new Yeezy releasing, or wherever it is that you're into. You're like, man, I gotta have those. Those look cool. Because I've looked at shoes online and they look really good in picture. Then when I got them, they just didn't look good on my feet. They weren't really working for me. And I'm not sure, these might survive. They might survive, and I think what I have to do is to wear an outfit. Wear an outfit and get comfortable with the purchase and say, this is why I bought the shoe. Simply break out the hat, the shirt, the jeans, the shorts, or whatever to say, yeah, this looks fresh. And not for somebody else's compliment. There's only a few people compliments matters to me when I put my clothes on. Definitely not a dude. But yeah, it's always about that. To cop or not to cop people. Just be responsible. Look at what you have. See if the shoe is somewhat similar to what you have already in your stash. And make sound decisions, man. Don't let us as shoe tubers say, you have to get these. You got it. These just drop. I got them. They don't get released. And I've done that before. I've gotten shoes before they went full on shelves. All right, the KDs, and they're legit. It's just that they put them on the shelf a little early, and they wanted to make that sale to see how psyched up people were. But I was looking at those particular shoes, and I got them. All right, or simply be patient, wait for the sale. I wasn't even tracking these when they went on sale. They wound up in the outlets. That's the thing about it. So if you look at it, I wasn't gonna get it. The Motorsport 4s are showing up in outlets now. I didn't want them. For one, they were $190, and the leather was not great for $190. They came out with the Pure Moneys. I was like, awesome, excellent. They came out with the Alternates, better leather. I got those. I wanted those. I really, really wanted those. And I pulled some stunts to get those. But to cop or not to cop people, it comes down to being financially responsible, what you already have, and trying to keep pace. Don't try to keep pace. Because here's a secret with some shoe tubers. And I've taken shoes back on exchange because I simply wasn't wearing them. But that was an outlet. But to a retail store, I'm not taking those back. And here's how it works. If a shoe's released on a Friday at, say, Finish Line Foot Action, and it's a quick drop, whatever, new release, you can't bring that shoe back until Monday. A lot of shoe tubers do that. They go in, drop that $200, whatever tax is, maybe they have sale tax, and they buy the shoe, talk about a new review, do it on foot, and you never see them in those shoes again. They do a collection review, and you're like, man, he paid all that money for those shoes, and you never see that shoe in their collection. And I'm not sneak dissing anybody at all, but you gotta understand, every week you're dropping $200 on a release shoe. That's not smart, unless you just got it like that. And if you got it like that and this is your thing, by all means keep going. But kids, don't feel like that's what you should be doing. All right, and remember, it's not about how much you paid for the sneakers. It's why did you pay that much? All right, and I'm out of here. Boom.